Hello, everybody. Welcome to our channel Beyond Limitation TV, the channel for community and development. And we are so happy to be back with this follow-up program on different topics that we are exploring. And of course, first thing first, please comment, like it, and subscribe. And also pass on the word to other, your friends, because the topics we're exploring are very important. Those are real issues that are going on in people's life. And so we need your comment, we need your input, we need your advice. And of course, you may want to be part of it as well. You can join us and let's explore those issues together. So, in this session, we'll be exploring this question. It's a follow-up question on the previous service we had, which was, do parents listen enough to the young people? Now, if you haven't watched that video, you can still watch it on our channel. It's there. And we are trying to explore more, and this time it's more to find out how can healing be? How can a restoration be? Because we identify that communication is not great between parents, adults in general, and young people for many reasons. So, and that program, we finished it, but we felt like it was like a finished business. There are so many things to be added on, many things to explore, but above all, we need to find solution as well. We need, as much as we can, not to fix it, but to open ways so that we can amend whatever that was broken there or that is broken there. So for that, tonight we still have our panel, which is young girls, very committed, motivated, and ready to explore the issues with us. And I'll let them again introduce themselves. And maybe they can even give, if they feel confident, the age, so that we relate with the general public. You know that it's, this panel is made of young girls who are aware of those issues and want to explore them. They don't want just to withdraw, they don't just want to hide them, but they want to explore them because they feel part of it. So again,
hi guys, I'm Benedict and I'm 20. Hi guys, I'm Benedict.
Hi guys, I'm Dagna and I'm 18.
Hi guys, I'm Dagna and
Hi, I'm Julia and I'm 17.
Hi,
I'm Kezia and I'm 20.
Right. So we can tell that this is really, they feel involved because this is the age where, well, of course, me, by the way, I'm Thierry, and so I'm the host of this meeting. So, and these issues really, concern all of us. Me, representing, for instance, the older generations, and surrounded by young people, young girls who really want to explore the issues. So, again, welcome, guys. So, I watched your past previous videos, and the topics was, do parents listen enough to young people? And I felt my understanding, my take on that was like, there is a breakdown of communication. Communication is not flowing as it's supposed to be within family setting or within adults and young people. And so I watched the video and I've got the point of both sides. You as young people, you felt like you are not being listened enough. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Can we just take a few minutes to go over it? Why do you feel that?
I think because most of the parents were just so quick to reply. I don't think they took a second to actually listen or even understand, because sometimes you can listen but you might not understand. There's a difference between listening and understanding. But yeah, I think they're just so quick to give a response, and that might have been an issue, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that the same opinion with everybody or anything else?
Yeah, like just pushing on the back way, it can be a thing where yeah, they're listening to respond, but also in a way where they're listening to respond, or it's like us as the young people, we're hearing what they're saying. It's not like we're not wanting to listen. Like we understand what you're saying, but in a way where because you're not trying to understand, because you want to be right in a way, it's going to make us not want to hear what you're saying, even though we do understand what you're saying, but because you're not listening to us, we think, well, why should we reciprocate it when you can't do it to us?
So, being listened to you, what does it mean?
For me to feel like I've been listened to, I need to see actions after. So if I say something, for example, let's say, I don't know, Mom, I didn't like the way if I do something wrong, you stop speaking, you go silent, stop speaking to me. I'd much rather next time, I don't know, if you want to take a break and speak to me later instead of ignoring me for a week. So then, let's say, for example, 2 weeks later, I do something that upset her, I would look for take a moment back and then come back to her, be like, you know what, I didn't like this, instead of her keeping that silent that I already picked up saying, Mom, I didn't like that. That's how I want to see actions after I bring up an issue, basically.
All right.
When we say actions as well, it's not like I say, oh, I don't like when you do this, and you do this for next time. You do it that next time, and then the time after that, that's it. It has to be something that is continuous. Continue to do, because it's not action that you just do it one time.
Right. So, if I hear what you're saying there, Benedict, you say it's more about the silence after the place you went. So, your expectation is at least to see some reaction. When at least say, okay, I've heard you, or I've listened to you, or I'll consider that I'll do something about that. And some of the time you feel like parents may not even say anything, they just go silent, and that really backfire or hurts you. Right, okay. And yes?
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
So basically, on Katie, on your side, it's like, okay, parents try to react to the first instance, but then again, they go back to the old things, old behavior. Right. Okay. Anything else?
Not really. I just think to show anyone that you're listening, it requires the action of the aftermath, isn't it? Like, if someone, you see the effort that they're putting the effort to change, so that you can know, okay, they listen to what I said, now they're putting the effort. When I'm asking for change, I don't mean instant change, because no one can change instantly. Even if it's gradual, I want to see something, like a bit of change, action. I feel like action shows that you're listening.
Now, you see, you mentioned one thing, this change. Change is a big word, right? And for someone, they may listen to you, okay, they hear you want them to change on certain areas, but for them that change can take maybe a time or effort, or even to adapt themselves to a new environment, a new outfit you want them to fit, you see.
Yeah.
So while they may be working on that, on your side, you may feel that they're not changing.
Yeah. That's true.
You see?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say that sometimes it's about waiting, right? That, okay, you mention something or you raise a point and maybe follow up on double check if they got it right. Because we are talking about old generation and younger generation. We are talking about different setting, completely different setting. You guys, some of you guys, you came young, some of you were born here, and some of your parents, they just move over. They've been brought up in another environment, with another mentality, those different realities. So while they are they are struggling maybe to fit in or to integrate in this environment where you guys will feel, you're at ease because this is where you are. But then maybe they are not fully integrated yet. So maybe something to consider. Not that they are ignoring you, but maybe they're struggling actually
To adjust,
to adjust to that.
Which is understandable because, like you said, they had to pack up their whole life and move to a whole different environment when they're already fully developed. Their brain is already fully developed. So it's hard when you've already fully developed elsewhere with a different mentality and then move as an adult to adapt. And then at the same time, not just adapt for yourself, but for a child you're trying to raise, which is, I can understand that in it, but I'll say, I understand that now as an adult. From a child's perspective, I would say, it's hard for a child to, which we showed you in it, but for a younger child, they might not think like that. Well, my mom is just, they might not give the parents the benefit of the doubt because as a child, you're thinking, well, you're my parents, you're meant to know better. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I feel like difficulty comes in. And as children, or me anyways, I realised it as I got much older because now I can actually think now and analyse everything. But when I was younger, I don't think I was capable of making down to critical thinking. I'm not saying that not anyone else would. For me anyways, I feel like if you're younger, it's harder to separate. Because you look at your parents as they should know everything. Yes. So you're thinking, well, why can't you do that? You're my parents, you're meant to guide me. Do you know what I mean? So it might be hard for children to put themselves in the parents' shoes, basically. But yeah.
I mean, as young people, does it cross your mind that sometimes that while wanting to be heard or listened to, that sometimes maybe you don't even listen to your parents? Being kind of a bit selfish to just want to be listened to, without listening to, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, if that's the case, then what do you do? How do you go about it? While you want to be listened to, and you realize that, oh, in fact, I'm not listening to them.
Same way you expect your parents to take in what you say and think about it, I think you should also do that. Maybe take a step back and think about what you just said yourself, and maybe, I don't know, analyze if you're capable anyways, if you're at that stage to critically think, analyze the conversation, ask yourself, did I listen to them? And if not, maybe next time, once again, talking about changing and adapting, approach the conversation differently. Maybe how about you stay quiet and listen to them? Because that's what most of the time we ask for them to do, innit?
So in general, what causes people to open up to listen, and what causes them to close up from listening?
Sure.
I would say when you're opening up to someone, you expect them to show that they're listening and they're interested rather than cut you off and be like, but no, I think it should be, that will make you close up because it's like, I didn't even finish my point and you're already cutting me off with trying to find a new solution.
Right. So when you feel cut off from being listened to, then how do you feel about it, for instance?
It just shows
Especially from your parent, people who are supposed to listen to you, and you realize that no, they are not listening. How do you feel about it?
It just feels like there's no point because you've got your own point of view of the solution, and I've got my point of view, but I didn't really finish it, but you already have your own point of view and perspective.
It's hurtful.
Yeah,
because I feel like you could, for example, you could be talking to a parent or whatever and explaining something, or for them, they already remade an assumption. So it's like what you're saying is like I'm explaining it, and then in the way I'm explaining it, you're rebuttaling everything that I'm saying. So it's like, what am I talking?
It's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
I see cues in conversation, when say in a conversation where you're trying to listen to your parent, yeah, I get you, I hear you, as well. They're not saying that, they're just throwing bolts in this, that. But they're not trying to hear you.
Yeah.
And even when they speak, it can just be you're trying to hear it, if you're in the sense of you're trying to listen to them, you're trying to hear them, and they're just going, no, like this, like that. And it's just when you're speaking to them, you can't see how you can see love. It's not like you can see any signs of you're trying to hear me out. So that can just cause someone's want to not even bring something like this up again, and or also change their mind.
touching on that as well is going to the fact that Ben said they grew up differently and how we're grown up. So we'll approach things much differently, like in the way we'll explain something. And then, like Judah said, they tell you no, but and oh. You can't tell me no, but and tell me how to feel because that's how I feel. It's not you, so you can't how to feel. I don't want to because somebody's you're telling me how to, like how I should feel about a situation, but you're not me. You don't know how I deal with that, so in a way, because they will probably deal with it differently, but you are not me. Yeah.
And if it's the way they've been brought up, I think that's something that they should unpack instead of like projecting how they've been brought up onto everyone, because obviously not everyone's experience is the same. So I think they should try to take that into account. So obviously the receiving end and what's called likewise. But I just feel like sometimes, I mean, especially in like African communities, that it's a whole bunch of like how they were brought up and their ways of thinking. So you're in places of thinking, okay, now try to adapt, like try to see where you come from. I feel like that's just very
And I was going to say that there's just like expectations. They like obviously because our parents are obviously raised in a different country. They like to come here and they think the way they've been brought up, they can try and teach us that way. But like there's a lot of expectations because it's a whole different country, and we're also being raised by like other people, like teachers. So like it's different towards like in Congo and here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there, a lot of subject to explore. Going back to forensic teacher, the teacher said it happened to me once, and I explored that with my children. I think also with Persid. Then she got a point. Don't forget that most of the time when we speak with you guys, you flow in English. You speak big English, good English. We speak broken English, right? And we flow in French, Lingala, which you are struggling with that. So from the point of view communication, there's an issue already there.
Language barrier.
Language barrier. And I identified that once, and I like to just throw that so that maybe something you guys can reflect on. When we talk, and she wanted to make a point, I say no. But that no does not mean that I'm undermining your emotion, or I'm saying no to you. But that's a way we speak to say no. It's not to say no to you, but you know what I mean? So that's where, if you don't get it, you may feel that they're shutting you down, which in reality they are not, but it's just a way to speak. It's like, with European, they feel that we African, when we speak, we shout. You see, that's a cultural element. But what's happening? They're shouting. We are not shouting that the way we are.
Yeah.
So the way we think, the way we speak, I may say no, not to say no to you, but just to make my point across. So that's something maybe to think about that also. You see. On the other hand, the question that I wanted to ask there is, I think Julia said it. With African, it's all about the way being brought up and trying to pass on to you. Personally, I find it hard for you guys. Because you are born here, but you are part of different culture. The fact remains that your identity is not fully 100% here. And it's not fully 100% back home. So that's the dilemma that you find yourself in. And that's something I think, I believe that a clever young person should kind of, have it in mind that I don't want to just to fully identify myself with this culture. Because if you do that, should the worst happen, for instance, God forbid, but anything can happen. You find yourself out of this context, then you lost. because you only grew up, you allow yourself to develop based on just one culture, which in reality maybe you did not even belong, except that you were born in that geographical area. And when you fully, I sense that when parents, for instance, they try to push on the things that no, we were not grow up like this, try to pass on the mantle, say like this is our culture, though you were born here, but you should make effort to identify yourself as well with your culture, who you are. In case, let's say, I guess Benedict may understand well, in case you found yourself, let's say, in Congo, where you were born, if you have no clue of any Congolese culture, then you feel lost. So that's the challenges that you guys are facing. For us, it's easy because we were born, somewhere, just came, okay, we can try to integrate, but our roots is strong. Whereas for you guys, it's not that strong. So, go on.
Because I think that point is true and I agree. But then to that extent, I feel like I blame me now on the parents here from what I'm seeing it. For me, I've been lucky enough, my parents very much Congolese. I've been raised in Congolese culture. They even had to make the choice to even teach me French or Lingala, and they chose Lingala so that roots can be open to me. With, let's say, for example, the girls here who were born here, from what I've noticed anyways, I feel like the parents, although they're trying to push, this is my culture, you have to have this mentality of where I'm from, but I don't feel like they expose them enough to the culture. I feel like, how can you expect someone to adapt to your culture, or even though it's also their culture, which just like, how can you expect someone to be a part of that culture when you're not teaching them about that culture properly? You're just forcing this strong mentality on them because that's where it's from, but you're not exposing them too much, you get what I mean? So I fully blame the parents. Like I asked them, it's like, most of the kids who were born here, they've never stepped foot in Congo. Even me, I was born in Congo, I went to Congo last year. The culture shock for me was huge. Never mind that, they never stepped a foot in Congo, and you pushing in Congo with this, but you're not exposed. I'm not saying, take them to Congo, let them see it all the time, obviously, if you have the opportunity to do so, but I think there's not enough, because certain parents are like, that local Congolese thing, because Malaks are Métis, but on the other hand, they're saying, Congolese is your culture. It's like, why are you protect, do you know what I mean? Do you know where I'm coming from? It's like, you're pushing for this narrative, but at the same time, you're hiding at the same time, like, pick which one. In a way, it can be confusing for them, because it's kind of confusing for me, and I was born in Congo. Never mind them, they don't know the Congolese culture the way I know it, you know what I mean? So I feel like on the parent side, instead of just pushing, they need to actually expose them to it more, instead of just,
I hear what you're saying there. Of course, in any culture, anything that we learn, there are good and bad. Now, as parents, I won't advocate for them fully because parents are different. Good parents, we talk in one of our sessions about good family setting. So good parents, I believe, they try to expose their children to what they feel maybe best. They don't get it right all the time because that's life, And in life in general, it's only too much you can do. At some point, the children have to learn themselves as well. So I hear what you're saying, which is right, and I believe that some of us, we fail to expose our children to what we feel that it is their culture for different reasons. Maybe parents, I know that we'll be having a session of YouTube to explore what the young people are saying here. But the point they're making, we believe that you agree with us that those are the points that we need to explore. Now, I ask a question here. When, for instance, parents fail to listen to you, how do you feel? Most of the time, Ben mentioned one thing, that was what I was expecting. It's about, you decide, since I'm not being listened to, what they want, but how do you feel about it? Because to notice one thing, it's one thing, right? But how do you feel from realizing that as a child listening to? Because, as a child, you expect your parent to be, emotional, to be there for you. You expect to be listened to. You expect to be, taken care of by your parent. So the very moment you realize that, I'm not being listened to people who are supposed to be recommended. It must, something happen there.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you just feel like once you hear them like talk and they put you up and it's not exactly what you wanted to hear, you just feel like you let me down. Like you just feel, well, not like you let me down, but like you just feel frustrated because it's like you're not listening to me.
Mm.
So like, what is the point? You just leave it there and just ignore the service.
Makes you like not want to go into like detail with you to know more stuff or other things that I might have to say because it's like it feels like you're not even trying to listen. Or it's like I feel from that conversation I've had with you, you have this standpoint inside what's the name when you talk to you. Because that's like a question that was answered before the distance thing. That's what happens when you feel like always wait. It starts to create that space.
Mm.
I mean, it's not resentment, but it's like you just have that idea now in the back of your mind. Just like it makes you feel kind of like you just know you're like feeling that with this.
Mm.
Because I just feel like as not even just as a parent, but as humans, as people, we should be able to listen to each other and just literally just simply try to understand, like sit down and just listen instead of just being like on 10 ready to respond. So like if you have a parent like that, it's like literally my parent, like when people are on the TV to listen to this.
Yeah.
And on top of that, from that, then it makes it harder. Like if you get told, oh, do this, in order to try and fix it, or saying it is easier than actually doing it. Like you could say, okay, let's do this so we can fix it, or it's not going to be easy for your child to want to do that because of like, I know each time I've never disciplined them, so I just feel like the steps to that is going to have to be like so small, so that they can gradual. Simply end up fixing it because it's not going to happen overnight. It's not probably going to happen for like another year or so. Yeah.
I hear you, of course. But in that process, do you get to consider the damages? Because I believe that life is all about choices and decisions, right? Each person has a projection of what they want to become in life. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And in that projection, many factors need to be taken into account. And if you got which we call a vision, right? A vision, I want to become this. If you are a visionary, you can see what you want to become. Do you consider that if in that relationship with parents plays a key role in what you want to become?
Yes.
So if you feel that, okay, that vision can be affected from that relationship, and if it does not work, maybe you are not being listened to. Can you make effort there? Because you know that this will determine my tomorrow. And it's not working now. I want my tomorrow to be better. So I have to do something here.
It gets to a point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It gets to a point where you can try and try and try and try and go back to as a child. If you're once
What do you
again,
mean? You can try and try.
You can try
How do you
and-
try?
like give chances in it. For me personally, if I do something that will upset my parents, fair enough. The first instant I might react as well. But if I go back again, if I as in like leave the situation and go back at it, I think, if I realise I do something wrong, I can go say sorry. But if they haven't forgiven me, they won't take me back to get me. Or even if they take me back, I'll try and fix the relationship again. Something else will happen. The same thing will happen again. and we're going in a circle now. It gets to the point where it becomes emotionally draining, to the point where not that you're sabotaging the future, but you're picking yourself up in that moment, so that, because if you're not picking yourself in that moment, you're not going to make it to the future. So I feel like it gets to a point where you're better off picking yourself and taking yourself out of that situation to protect that future you have. Like, because if you stay in that cycle, especially if it's a toxic cycle, it can mess you up to the point where you're not going to make it to that vision either way. So it gets to the point, doesn't it? It gets to the point where you have to make the crucial decision. You have to make that choice.
I mean, yeah, I'll come to you, Julia. Based on what you said, it can mess you up. How do you know?
I'm giving trauma in it. Everyone takes trauma differently. You can take trauma can change you positively, negatively, depending on the person you are. If you're not strong enough mentally to fight against your trauma, it can mess you up.
Yeah.
So whatever happens at home affects a child's development, like affects them later on in life. That's a fact. That's just the way it is. So it's just, I feel like it's more depends on your mentality, how you take your trauma. So if you're a person that doesn't have a strong mentality, your trauma can mess you up. But if you're a person that has a strong mentality, you can take your trauma to do good in the future. So I think you have to get to know yourself as well. So like, if I stay in this situation, would it mess me up? How would it benefit me in the future? If you feel like, I don't know, you've tried your best and you feel like if I keep going, it's going to push me to the point where I'm not able to come back or pick myself up and go, you're going to have to remove yourself.
So I guess what you're saying is based on because you are training to some of those areas. Kind of.
I'm saying that. to a certain extent, yes, because that's what I'm
So
trained.
let's take it from a child who does not know what you know.
He doesn't know what I know. For age though.
Any age.
As a child, if you're, I won't say stuck, because if you don't have an option, your only option is to stay at your parents' house, then you can try, but you can also, there's a difference between, you can still be in the house present, seeing you physically, but you can withdraw emotionally. So that's already you taking yourself out of it.
Yeah.
So, because I feel that's natural with anyone. You can put effort into something. It's like growing a plant. If you keep pouring the water, it's not growing. It gets to the point where you're going to be like, well, I'm not going to keep pouring water into something that's not going to grow. Do you get what I mean? And I feel like, isn't that just in a way, a natural reaction? Because who wants to constantly keep getting hurt? And that could go both ways with parents or anyone. That doesn't have to be a child. Who wants to constantly feed something that's not growing?
So when we go back to what we said there before, if you acknowledge that some of the times young people are selfish as well. They want to be listened to, not listening to. Now, when, let's say, you are facing your parents, where you want to be listened to without listening to them, so obviously on their side as well, they will not just, let themselves just listen to you. So there's a clash already there. Now, if from there you withdraw yourself, so you are part of that mess as well, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say that, of course, cases are different, but there are some major of them, both parents and young people can consider from scratch without to take any action in terms of either withdrawing or, closing up themselves. Sometimes, people in general, human beings are eager to judge, right? And sometimes we may feel that, we are judging without realizing it. Whereas, in fact, ourselves, we haven't done our part. So, which means when it comes to relationship, it's important to consider all the factors involved. Julie, you wanted to say something?
I was just gonna say that, sometimes parents find it difficult to apologize and to just simply say sorry when they're wrong. So sometimes they might have done something, they realize in themselves that they made you upset or something, and then they might compensate by doing different things and saying, you want to eat right now when you're hungry or something, instead of actually just sit down and say, I apologize. Or they just didn't even, if they, from them not apologizing, and obviously you can tell that they feel bad for something, they may just don't know they're sorry for what they've actually done, or they're sorry for seeing that you're silent.
That's a good point, you know. And parents, I guess that you've heard what Julia's saying. We'll be concluding later on, but I just want to comment on that because it's we all know that, you know. Sometimes we are being proud, you know, or we feel like we are adults and things like that. But acknowledging mistakes and even asking forgiveness, it's not a sin, you know. Little things or big things, it's natural and it should flow normally. When you realize that you're wrong or behave wrongly, the right thing to do just to humble yourself, you know, ask for forgiveness, even to a child. So to avoid all those things that we're talking about, because the damages can be really great. Was it just something?
I'm just going to say, but what Julia said as well, like in sense of like being able to say sorry or stuff like that. A lot of the times, like young people can go to their parents and like because the parents and stuff like because you're my child. It's like sometimes you actually get that you're not always right. As much as you can be older than me, you're my parents. You see more, probably know more. That doesn't mean your child doesn't know anything. Their opinion also does matter because sometimes they can say things you don't know. But because I'm your parents, you have to listen to what I'm saying. So then it can come across as well. That's unfair because I know what I'm saying. Or because you're my parents and you're trying to give me advice, you're not trying to hear what I'm saying because I'm a young person too. And what you say matters more than what I'm saying just because I'm younger than you.
And
Okay.
if the parents like wants to know if they're doing a good job, obviously their opinions, you know, Lord, maybe hear them out, see maybe try and clear where they're coming from. You might see what they're saying around.
Yeah, just adding to what Gia said about parents, like, not saying sorry, like, you know you're in the wrong, but you're not going to say sorry, you're going to find a little excuse like, oh, do you want to eat? But if you have a young child that you're raising, and you don't say sorry to your child, sometimes they can pick up your action, and when they grow up, instead of them being able to say sorry to others when they hate them, they won't say sorry to them, and they'll find like an easy way to like get out of it. And find like a little tactics to be like, instead of you actually saying sorry to your friend for hating them, you're like, oh, do you want to go out? Like, but sometimes it's better to hear, oh, I'm sorry. So like, sometimes as kids, we can like learn from our parents through their actions.
Sometimes, I think sorry goes a long way. Let's put it that way. And I think the trauma goes on. Well, not the trauma. Sorry, the cycle goes on because I think for most of it, that's how their parents treated them. I think this is an issue that I picked up. I feel like if a lot of African parents can realize the way they got brought up wasn't okay, and if they accept that, I think it will make it easy to move on. Because they look at it as, we grew up like this, but look at the ways it affects your relationship with your kids. You know what I mean? Because that's all you know, fair enough, that's all you know. But I think if you have knowledge, okay, maybe the way I might have been raised, it wasn't correct. That's the only way you can change. You have to acknowledge how I've been raised. But if they're not ready to acknowledge or to see maybe the way you got brought up in Congo, like I saw that, it wasn't the correct way, you're not going to change. Instead of you pushing your kids to also grow up as so that is, you know what I mean? You have to acknowledge being raised like a so that maybe it wasn't okay. It wasn't okay. Do you know what I mean?
Really, so that's a big
Oh, well, I hear what you're saying, which is right, you know. But what is the right way to be raised?
Oh, you have to see the ways affect
You see,
you.
that's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
You know, there's no specific definition of being raised right.
Yeah.
You see, so it really depends on family values and families, you know, belief and things like that. Because when you grow up from a family where you believe that okay, respect is the key, you know, you have to respect each other. So that family, you see. Another thing, which is it's a big thing, it requires understanding, you know, because some of the parents, they may have this mentality where the way they've been raised, maybe they've suffered, they don't want the children to suffer. Hence, they are trying to be tough to avoid what they've gone through without saying it. So those things need to be taken in consideration. So one thing, before we we start heading to the end. From the question I'm asking, because parents are supposed to love, care, and be there for children, and children are supposed to receive that, right? Instead of closing up, for instance, or not, or withdrawing, does it cross your mind that sometimes, okay, before to withdraw, but open up sincerely your emotion. Tell your parent how you feel based on them not listening to you. Say, Mom, Dad, you say, you not being there, you not listening to me is affecting me. Because those that sometimes we do open up, we just they're not ready to listen, then we move away. Whereas, because when you move away with that feeling, you can go everywhere, that feeling will still be there. Because the emotion, the attention from your parents can never be replaced by even your friends or whoever it is. So one of the options might be, okay, before to consider or try to cover it up, but to open up to say, Mom, you are hating me. You are my parents, I'd love to be here. Listen, I know this, being honest, because I believe that true parents, they will never wish bad for the children. Because parents in general, the way, parents are supposed to love their children. They're supposed to, that's natural. Any parents, anyone does children, they don't go that parent love. Maybe they don't know how to express it. Maybe based on different factors, but it is hidden there. And some people don't know how to express the love. But through communication, you may be shocked to realize that, oh, I thought that my parents wasn't listening to me, they've done it in purpose. But in reality, they were not even aware of that, they behaving that way was affecting me. So this is something to maybe to consider, or to hear a young person out there, you feel that your parents are not listening to you, because they will remain your parents. Sometimes it's also just go up now to say, listen, Dad, listen, Mom, you are not listening to me, and it is affecting my mental wellness, for instance. So can you please listen? I want you to listen to me. I want you to make effort because I need you. You'll be shocked to what can come out of that sincere communication.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Some parents will actually listen, no. Yeah. The one that will listen, I say, you should always give it a go and you should open. Because there's some that will actually listen to you. Don't have assumption that you're not going to be heard. So, yeah.
Exactly. So, let's get a few points there. So, let's say from a certain way, parent communication has been broken down between parents and young people. On your perspective, what can be the way out? Why I'm asking this question? Because in a video we ran before, we said family settings come from God. And there is blessing related to this relationship. And if you allow me, I can just quote it. For instance, in Ephesians 6:1, the Bible says, because if you go in families coming from God, so we can't run from God. And it says there's blessing, children obey their parents. And there's a promise attached to that so that you can be prosperous and live long. So prosperity and long life depends on children obedience to their parents. Why I'm saying that this subject is very important so that we can explore solution. Because blessing attached to this relationship. But the good things, because God is a just God, He does not stop there. And He said, and you parents.
I was waiting for it to say that.
That's what I've got a parent again.
I was waiting.
The only quote one part.
One part, exactly.
Not the second part.
Yeah.
As if it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
And it just makes it harder because it's like you quit on that one part.
Yeah.
Like, and you have such strong opinion, so it's just like so much pressure
Yeah, yeah.
to just follow that one part.
Exactly. Because God is a just God.
Tell them the part.
You know, he cannot just put pressure on one part and leave the other. You see. So they had a part say, and I like the way he put it. He said, okay, he started with children. You want to live longer and prosper in life. So which means the burden really is on you because you want to be prosper. You study to become someone in life. You want to live longer. So, and one of the key there, you have to obey your parents.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that if there is a concern, go talk to your parents. Open up, say, you are hating me, you are not listening, because it is attached to your blessing, to your prosperity. Because trying to run away from that or withdraw yourself, you are not helping yourself. Because this is what God says that will apply to you. Have you been obedient to your parents? No. Or because they weren't listening to me, that's an excuse. You see? That's why God, in His justice, then He come back to parents, and you parent also. Don't irritate your children. So that's a part that parents we have to explore also, because especially as like Africa, it's a big debate, and we must understand, which makes sense from the point I made before. If you truly love your children, then you want them to do good in life, right? So you must realize that no, I will do my best also not to irritate my children, so that each part fulfill the commitment, and then the blessing flows. So it goes both ways. So that I just quoted that, but in your eyes, what do you think that may be the way out or a way out? There may be many, but let's just quote a few there. What do you think the healing may look like from a setting of family or a relationship where children withdraw themselves because they're not being listened to? And now we understand that at least that relationship is very important. Then what can be done?
Conversations, talking about how both of you feel, not just children, but also parents feel. And it doesn't have to escalate into anything like shouting, just nothing like that. It can just be calm, like a calm conversation where you guys both sit down. There are no overlapping talks. You let each person talk. And then which you just calmly say, no criticisms, calmly say what you like about each other, what you don't like. And not just talk that one time, but talk all the time, but then try to do things for each other to make sure you like the love is still there, like the loneliness.
Yeah. What you said, I was gonna add like sometimes just like take like a few steps, like going out, maybe be like, oh yeah, let's go watch a movie, let's go spend day shopping, to heal that progress, like, sit down and talk about what you don't like about each other and what you think should change and what you should do better for each other. Just like little steps, like just take little steps into like fixing the relationship. Yeah, it doesn't have to lead into a big argument. It doesn't have to lead into like a big misunderstanding. And even if it does, just listen and just be like, okay. But this is exactly what I mean by when I say, what I'm saying.
I also think that like when parents, then all the conversations are happening, when parents start shouting right away, like it can make someone be like straight down. That's why somebody needs to just stop talking and it's like I don't need to shout to get your feelings.
Because that's another thing that I also think that the older you get, like as soon as you've already now reached past that age or reached that certain age, it's like, yeah, I know you are my parents, I'm your child, but at the same time, I'm actually also a young adult. There's things that I like, I do not like. And you also have to know, okay, if you don't like these things, I have to respect that as well. It's not because I'm your child, it doesn't matter. You have to respect if I don't like something, because a lot of parents, they resort to shouting and saying, a lot of people do not like that at all. Because I'm one of those people, if you shout, I'm not listening. You you have to be able to speak to me. I'm not saying baby, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying speak to me like a young adult, because I am a young adult. Like, don't shout at me, because I'm not going to try and hear anything that you're saying, because you're not communicating to me in a way that I respect or appreciate.
So, yeah.
I was going to say, and I also think, because we're all here saying what we want to be heard, and I think also as kids as well, or as young adults, we need to also try to understand our parents as well. It will only work if we're both understanding each other. It can't work same way as we want to be heard. If we're not hearing them back, you know what I mean? It won't work. You have to both of us understand each other in a way, have a mutual ground, let's put it that way. If, I don't know, if you feel like you can't talk directly to your mum, I'm going to speak to someone else that will mutualize the relationship. So if you don't understand your parents' struggle or anyone's struggle, you will never, you'll never get through that, and vice versa. So you have to also be open-minded. I think with children, or most of us go to our parents with, we've already made up our mind, like we're saying, well, they're not going to listen. If you're already walking into any discussion with a made up your mind already, it's not going to work, do you know what I mean? So you have to walk in that open mind and be like, you know what, they're also trying. I think for me, as someone that grew up both in Congo and here, I feel like those children who were born here, sometimes I feel like they lack empathy for their parents who grew up in Congo, which I completely understand because this is what they're seeing. But I think they can easily forget to think, you know what, in a way, they're also living for the first time. They're also trying to live, but raise me at the same time. I think if most of us, as adults anyway, obviously I'm not saying younger children, of like 17 to how old we are now, if you try to understand them, and give them time, I feel like the relationship will be better. Because like you said earlier on, you said that sometimes the English, we're saying you're not understanding. Sometimes I think, you know what, a language barrier can ruin pretty much anything. So if you're not aware of the language barrier, you're not going to get, you might be saying all these words, like, oh, I'm telling, but she has no clue what you're saying. So she might just be like, but deep down, she has no clue what you just said to her, and she just doesn't get, and you will think that, oh, mom just ignored me. Well, if anything, she didn't understand anything you said. So I think if children understand that the parents are just living, and they're also learning, this is all new to them as well. They are raising you, so just give them a benefit of the doubt when it's needed, and I feel like they will appreciate it more as well, and the relationship will be better, I think.
I mean, yeah, so I like the point you said there, because, you know, when it comes to those big English, sometimes that's Bayak and Moritz, you know, young people. You understand many things, you know, you come to learn many things. And sometimes you look quite special when you're dealing with parents who maybe, you know, like that struggling with English. You look at us just like dumb, you know, like,
Exactly.
you know, how can you not understand me?
Yeah.
You say, well, okay, you just learn now things, but yesterday you were baby.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing young woman must realize that even though you may be up there, your parents may have limitation in terms of, you know, English or some skills or whatever it is, but they are your parents.
Yeah.
They are your parents, because even the Bible tells you that children honor your parents. You see, because you came to this world through them. Today you grow up and becoming one, but they remain your parents no matter what it is. And this is a value that is not just within the church, but in any culture. When you go to Asia, the way they treat parents, they've got a respect to all parents. Because the first thing when you go love and respect for someone, the limitation will not really, you know, you will not take the limitation as, you know, it seriously. But you try to be with them, understand them, and try to help as much as you can. And another thing is also, let's not forget this. Try to solve situation in relationship between parents and children is for your own benefit as well. Because if you have got a unfinished business in that you have not solved it, you said before, the way you were, your perception of 5 years ago is not the same today. because you've grown up, you go, maybe it wasn't that bad. You see it differently. Now, if you haven't dealt with things in a younger age, by the time you become a grown up, you'll be facing the same issue as well.
Yeah.
But it may be worse with you because you haven't solved your own when you were children. Then to be facing maybe your kids as well, it can become much a lot for you. So, what I'm trying to say there, in any situation where there's a clash, breakdown of communication, let's try to make effort. And with little things that, of course, Davina said it there, let's go to the movie, or let's say South African parents. I hear what you're saying, of course, yeah, it can be anything, of course, it can be anything, but we'll be talking with parents as well. It is a both-way conversation. That's a fact. Parents have to make effort as well, to meet you halfway, because it is very important. Blessing of the families depends on those things we are talking about, both for parents and children. So try to neglect it or try to withdraw from it will not help anybody at all. Because at the end of the day, as we say, families stick together. Once, God forbid, the worst happens, everybody will be affected. But when joy is there, success is there, victory is there, everybody will be rejoicing. So why? We may as well work on little things that we can right now so that we can guarantee. So Julie wants to say something.
I was just gonna say that, I know that sometimes I could be in a romantic situation, just go into exploding, and I'm just, I take it to the back and just, we can talk about this, or I realize that there's times where I think teenagers as well in this stage where they'll just feel immature, and we think, I'm at an age where sometimes I know I'm very strong. So, maybe the things that I think my parents would do too much, and I'm just going as proportions. That's not really think that I have to be more answer. So being we can just talk about it.
I also think that, in parenting ways, in terms of trying to get across to your child, say for example, they've done something wrong or anything like that, and you do result in shouting, one, nobody likes being shouted at, and two, it's a thing where if you're shouting at somebody, what are you shouting at them for? Because you could just shout at somebody for, and they'll tell you did disrupt did you actually explain why you didn't like what they did? Because to them, it could be a thing where, well, I didn't see why I did that was that bad. You're screaming on the other hand. There's no middle. You haven't explained anything. You told them, don't do this. Why not? Sometimes you have to be able to explain things as well, so they can actually understand. Because a lot of the things where you can just shout at somebody, tell them stop doing this, a lot of young people will see that stop trying to, as you're trying to control them. It's don't raise a child to control them. You have to raise a child knowing pretty well they're gonna grow and make their own decisions in life.
I think there's also a frustration with the children that these children that are actually well behaved, and they see themselves as well behaved because their peers, they know what their peers are at school their peers now they're doing they're doing going to the course at their age and stuff like that, doing way worse than me doing say me for example, I know I didn't do all that stuff. If I'm in a conversation with parents, it feels like the way they talk to me is you think I'm the worst in this.
You knew what you were literally organizing.
You're such a good child.
Where's his? Because it's just sometimes just saying things, just wow, this person's parent would wish to have me. But obviously they see what they're seeing.
Even in the people that can be close to you, that live in different
As
houses,
in
because
where
we could all talk together.
This happens in my household. It won't be anything that's actually bound to secret where it could be like, this happens in my household, or this happens in my household.
But I'm seen as the worst child for that, whereas you're seen as the best child for that. And it's like when you now talk to each other's parents, they think your child is so good.
Yeah.
Your child is so good. But it's like you don't actually live in their houses and how they actually feel about things. Whereas the young people actually talk to each other and we know how we feel.
Yeah.
So it's like
On that, of course, that's why I say communication is the key. Communication is the key because from the parent perspective is some of the parents, especially in this country, parents don't even feel what they watch in movies, what's happening out there. I was talking with one parent today, just mentioning, say that, when the kids, another best parent was saying that, our kid, he has 10 years old or something like that, or parenting is hard. Then the other one said that, that's okay. Wait until they grow up. Then we realize the burden. Each time they go out, when they come back home, we say, thank God. You see, those things, you guys, you don't know about that. Parents live with fear as well. Especially African, we are caring, everybody's caring families. But the way we consider family is something else. Then the fear to know that my kids, my child may be involved in something, most of the time they speak out of fear. Out of fear that, not that they don't trust you, but the reality around, in the society makes them a bit paranoid.
The collectivist individualistic societies like Africa would be more collectivist, as in like everyone works together for like the communities, but like everyone's
Yes.
it's more like everyone for themselves.
Yeah.
That's a good point there. In Africa, for instance, we know that, a neighbor's child, I can correct him, I can shout at him, so I know that my kids, I cannot be there, I know that, I've got a community, but it's like, then for a parent, that, I have to be careful, especially if the law in this country, you've got social service, you've got things. So parents live in fear that I don't want to get myself involved if my kids, for instance, get taken away. I can't take it. No, those things kind of, going on that's not an excuse why some of the parents, So these things need to be explored together. You want to say something?
Yeah, back to what you said, about the fear of your child going out, and when you see your child, you're like, oh, thank God, they're back.
Yeah.
Obviously, my little sister Daisy, she's not in year 7. Obviously, she goes out, and she gets away with certain time limits of when she comes back home. For some time, when she's out and for example, if I take her out and the house is silent and I know my little sister's not there, I feel that fear too. And it's now I understand why my mom would be worried about, where are you? What time are you coming back?
So I guess one of the way out is just communication, clear communication. Tell each other how you feel. Tell each other this is working, this is not working. And also one point you guys mentioned there when it comes to communication, again, everything will be sorted out through when you're talking. For instance, in Africa or African, when we speak, sometimes we cut each other. You speak over each other. You go to for you guys, if you're not familiar with that, they're not even letting me speak. So some things, those are the things that we may explore. How we explore them? Sometimes just clear, open, honest communication. You feel frustrated, tell your parents. You feel hurt, tell your parents. Then I believe that every parent out there, when they hear that the children are being hurt from what they are doing, they will be happy to do something about it. No parent, will be happy to see that my child are going through trauma because of me. Sometimes we just assume, with everything we don't know, yeah, I can say, no. But when you come, you sit with us, Dad, Mom, what you did there, it changed everything. So I guess for today, we'll stop there. And we really hope that we've made some way for also this, in this conversation. So we've explored this question about do parents listen enough to children? Take it from there and try to go a bit in details and then explore one way out, which is clear communication. Parents out there, we'll be talking with you guys as well about what is your view, your perspective on this healing process. But one thing you can hear from the young girls here, it's already that we need to be open to communication, because this is a win-win situation or a lose-lose one. If we don't do enough, then no one's winning. And since families is a divine structure, there are consequences if we fail in this mission. Not just parents, but young people also. Because young people today will be parents of tomorrow. So we need to prepare them, we need to support them. And vice versa also. They need to support us. And that can only be done through communication. When we sit down, we speak honestly, and we are ready to listen to and to make amends. That's the only way out. We can try to make progress in this relationship. So thank you for watching us, and we really hope that you enjoy it. As we keep on saying, please comment, please get involved, send us your question, your comment, your input. We want to get involved, get in touch, support, share the links, subscribe, and let's build this community together and for the good of everybody. Thank you very much, and thanks, guys. So we'll see you next time.
See.
Bye-bye.
Bye.